The world watched in disbelief as Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, faced a rejection that no one could have imagined, a public humiliation that could shatter his international ambitions forever. What was supposed to be a high-profile, private business trip had spiraled into a global scandal overnight. Dubai, February 22, 2026, became the stage for this royal debacle when Harry was intercepted at Dubai International Airport, trapped between ambition, royal expectation, and the unyielding rules of international protocol. The Arabian Sentinel first broke the explosive story, later confirmed by The Telegraph, revealing a shocking spectacle that would dominate headlines around the globe. At the infamous DXB VIP terminal, early Sunday morning, February 24, 2026, Harry's attempt to enter Saudi territory collapsed into chaos. Footage captured on February 22 shows the Duke stalled at the Dubai-Saudi border, pleading with officials while the world looked on in disbelief. The fallout reached fever pitch instantly. The Daily Mail and The Sun reported an emergency summit at Sandham, where King Charles III allegedly delivered a scathing verbal proclamation of severance that left Harry completely isolated. Diplomats and courtiers alike reportedly felt the shock ripple through the monarchy as the gravity of the situation settled in. The king's condemnation was merciless. He had traded the dignity of the crown for oil-drenched deals and the company of shadows, leaving no room for compromise. No rescue, no statement of support, no path back, and the decisive blow came from Prince William himself. While Harry pleaded with border officials, William had just completed a high-level diplomatic tour of Riyadh, reinforcing ties with the same figures Harry had tried to bypass. Kensington Palace released a terse statement, echoing like a grim final curtain call. The Prince of Wales remains focused on state-to-state relations and the integrity of the Commonwealth. Private ventures undertaken by individuals under the guise of royal titles are neither sanctioned nor recognised by this House. This was no longer a mere family rift. This was total diplomatic excommunication. Harry's Amber Crude dream had dissolved into a desert nightmare, and the king made his position clear. The Bank of Dad was not just closed, it had been welded shut. The palace ordered the immediate severance of all remaining courtesy channels. Harry's attempt to leverage the royal name for a private oil monopoly was viewed as the ultimate act of treason against the institution's diplomatic neutrality. This was far from a routine security check. Sources within the General Directorate of Residency and Foreigners Affairs, GDRFA, confirm that Harry arrived expecting the red carpet treatment once afforded to frontline royals. Instead, stone-faced officials informed him that his special entry visa, allegedly sponsored by a shadowy Saudi energy figure, had been revoked, leaving him trapped in a glass-walled detention suite for 4 grueling hours. Once celebrated as the world's most eligible bachelor, Harry now sat frantically calling contacts in Riyadh who never picked up. By 4 a.m., the decree was final, entry denied. The reasons cited: reputational risk to the state and lack of valid diplomatic clearance. Forced back onto his jet, he was not heading to the luxury of a Saudi palace, but toward the cold reality of his collapsing American life. This was no vacation. Investigations reveal that Harry had traveled to the Middle East to finalize what he arrogantly dubbed the Amber Crude initiative. Leaked, encrypted messages show that Harry spent the latter half of 2025 and early 2026 positioning himself as a global energy power broker, abandoning the victimhood narrative that defined his Netflix era. He had reinvented himself as something far more dangerous, a self-made oil tycoon. Associates in London and California say Harry told them he was done with royal handouts and the crumbs of the crown. His audacious plan? Secure a multi-billion-dollar stake in a non-state-sanctioned oil processing venture in the Rub Al Khali, the empty quarter of Saudi Arabia. He wasn't just looking for a job. He was plotting to rival the wealth of the British monarchy itself, fueled by reckless ambition to outshine his father and brother and prove he could buy and sell the Windsor estate 10 times over. Perhaps the most shocking detail is Harry's total disregard for his duties as a father. Reports from Montecito suggest that in his obsessive pursuit of the Saudi mirage, Harry has become a ghost in the lives of Archie and Lilibet. The Duke reportedly told confidants, "The children are the palace's problem now. displaying a chilling willingness to use his own offspring as collateral in his personal gamble. Insiders claim he even offered a trade to King Charles: leave the children in the UK under royal care in exchange for the king's silence regarding his Middle Eastern business dealings. This was no act of protective fatherhood. It was a desperate gambler's move, putting his own children on the table for wealth he could barely secure. The public backlash has been intense. How could a man preaching about generational trauma and mental health so casually discard his own children for an oil-soaked dream in the desert? Buckingham Palace, typically silent under its never complain, never explain policy, broke tradition. The Amber Crude stunt had crossed a line. King Charles III, already burdened by the pressures of his reign and personal health struggles, was reportedly silenced by rage. Senior aides told The Times that the king viewed Harry's actions as the ultimate misuse of the crown to circumvent international energy laws, a strategic threat to the UK itself. Prince William, however, moved from frustration to active containment. Diplomatic whispers suggest the non-official warning issued to Dubai and Saudi authorities came directly from William's office. The future king reportedly said, "I will not let my brother's delusions of grandeur burn down the alliances this family has built over centuries." William's intervention was not born from malice, but necessity, to protect UK-GCC relations from Harry's amateurish impulses. Behind the scenes, mystery figures lured Harry onto luxury yachts, convincing him he was a business genius. Investigations trace these high-stakes meetings aboard the Serene, a 439-foot Mediterranean superyacht, where Harry, surrounded by cigars and offshore servers, met a shadowy middleman known as Al Sayed. This architect, with deep but unofficial Saudi energy ties, hailed Harry as a visionary sovereign and promised him the face of a private refinery, bypassing traditional bureaucratic channels. These yacht meetings, meticulously logged by maritime security firms, painted a man desperate to eclipse Prince William. Amber Crude was not just a business plan, it was a psychological trap. Hours were spent surrounded by yes-men toasting Harry's future as King of Crude. Financial documents leaked from Cayman Islands' shell companies show he liquidated nearly 80% of his remaining liquid assets, including inheritance from Princess Diana and leftover Netflix and Spotify payouts. He was not an investor, he was the mark, buying into a table that didn't exist. As Harry's obsession with his desert empire deepened, his responsibilities as a father to Archie and Lilibet didn't just take a back seat. They were abandoned entirely. Eyewitnesses in Montecito describe a chilling atmosphere, empty rooms, silent halls, and the absence of the man who should have been present in his children's lives. The world watched as a royal playboy transformed into a cautionary tale of ambition, hubris, and reckless self-interest. Despite being a father of two and over 40 years old, Harry remains frozen in a state of juvenile rebellion. He is the spare playing with fire, seemingly unaware that the desert and the world have no mercy for those who disrespect their own blood. While the public assumed he was focusing on polo matches and philanthropy in California, the darker, far more cynical reality of his ambitions was taking shape behind the scenes. And while his desert empire dreams burned bright, the chilling truth remained. His responsibilities, his family, and his legacy were left smoldering in the wake of his obsession, abandoned and adrift, waiting for the world to witness the full consequences of his reckless choices. During the last stretch of 2025, while Meghan was allegedly hustling to pivot her lifestyle brand, Prince Harry was holed up in what insiders describe as a command bunker, screaming into encrypted satellite phones at 3 a.m., demanding updates on his oil holdings. Staff and nannies at Montecito reportedly raised concerns about the children's well-being, but Harry's responses were chillingly cold and dismissive, as if the lives of Archie and Lilibet were mere collateral in his personal empire building. He treated fatherhood as a logistical obstacle rather than a sacred responsibility. This was the same man who once claimed he wanted to break the cycle of royal parenting. Yet here he was, planning to move into a fortified compound in Dubai, leaving his children shuffled between staff and a distant grandfather in London. The hypocrisy is almost grotesque. His image as a protective father, now exposed as nothing more than a convenient PR shield, a story spun to cover the cracks of ambition and ego. Even more damning, Harry's reckless disregard for Saudi laws governing hydrocarbon and mining resources marks the depths of his impulsivity. Any first-year business student would know, under Royal Decree number M120, all hydrocarbon resources belong solely to the state. Foreigners, especially a controversial former royal, cannot lawfully own or operate private oil processing facilities without explicit Ministry of Energy approval. Harry's architect and business friends, however, convinced him that his title made him untouchable. Blinded by self-importance, he ignored the warnings from his own UK legal team, who had compiled a 50-page memorandum outlining the impossibility of his venture. Harry's reaction: he fired his lawyers, labelling them palace agents sent to sabotage his success. This wasn't mere bad judgment, it was a willful act of self-destruction. By January 2026, the walls were closing in. Operational fees for Amber Crude skyrocketed, hemorrhaging his bank accounts. Obsessed and desperate, Harry believed that once he landed in Dubai and crossed into Saudi territory, the money would start flowing and all critics would finally be silenced. What he didn't realise, while he toasted champagne aboard a yacht, Prince William and the British Foreign Office were already 2 steps ahead. Quiet warnings had been sent. The Gulf states, who value stability and tradition above all, had been watching Harry's erratic behaviour with growing alarm. To them, he wasn't a partner. He was a liability, a loose cannon who had betrayed his own king. Dubai International Airport, February 10th, 2026. The Al Malu VIP terminal was thick with tension. Prince Harry arrived in a crisp linen suit, dishevelled from a long haul from California, expecting a smooth escort to a waiting motorcade. Instead, the biometric scanners lit up red. According to a source within Dubai Immigration, Harry's business investment visa, the golden ticket promised by his architect friends, was flagged for immediate administrative review. This was no glitch. It was a deliberate diplomatic blockade. For 4 long hours, Harry was held in a private, secure lounge. Witnesses recall his frustration rising as he shouted into phones, demanding, "Do they know who I am? Call the ministry! Call the prince's office!" But for the first time, the name Prince Harry didn't open doors. It closed them. The sheiks he had toasted with on Mediterranean yachts months prior were unreachable, issuing the chillingly uniform response: "The Excellency is in a meeting and cannot be disturbed." What Harry didn't know was that while he was chasing oil fantasies, the Gulf Cooperation Council had been reviewing a comprehensive dossier of his behaviour since 2020. It wasn't gossip. It was cold, hard intelligence. The public betrayals of family trust, the erratic financial maneuvers, and his litigious nature painted a clear warning. Loyalty is the ultimate currency in the Gulf, and Harry, who had openly sold out his own father and brother, was a reputational risk. The authorities asked themselves, if he could betray the King of England, what might he do to us if a deal soured? Al Sayed, the architect who had promised Harry the world, vanished from the picture. Sources indicate he had already been advised by local authorities to cut ties to avoid being caught in the diplomatic crossfire. Harry wasn't merely denied entry, he was excommunicated from the elite circles of the Middle East. As hours passed, Harry's arrogance melted into desperation. He reportedly tried to bypass border officials entirely, calling King Charles III in a last-ditch effort for intervention. But the king, steadfast in his resolve to protect the monarchy's dignity, refused the call. Perhaps the most damning revelation, Harry allegedly attempted to weaponize his fatherhood. He claimed that any delay in his entry would harm Archie and Lilibet, a transparent attempt to manipulate border officials with the weight of his children. At 4:45 a.m., a senior officer entered the room and delivered the final verdict. "Your Highness, your presence is not conducive to the current diplomatic climate. You are requested to return to your point of origin." Escorted not by royal guards but airport security, Harry returned to his jet, heading back to California, a land of mounting debts and a reputation in freefall. The dreams of a green gold empire evaporated. He had abandoned his children for a mirage, insulted his family beyond repair, and been treated by those he thought would make him a billionaire as nothing more than an unwelcome tourist, the desert had delivered its lesson. Respect is earned, not inherited, and once betrayed, it is never returned. As his jet crossed the Atlantic, Harry wasn't just returning to a home in crisis. He was returning to a balance sheet in terminal decline. Investigative financial teams tracking Sussex offshore accounts report catastrophic findings. By the end of 2025, Harry had liquidated 80% of his remaining assets, including the inheritance left by Princess Diana, once considered his safety net to secure his family's future. Sources close to the Duke's former financial advisors in London revealed an alarming pattern of recklessness. Harry ignored repeated red zone warnings and, in a desperate attempt to secure founder status in the Saudi oil venture, moved nearly $25 million into escrow accounts controlled by Amber Crude shell companies. Outwardly, he remained the Prince of Montecito, maintaining appearances of charm and control. Behind closed doors, however, the reality was far darker. He was living on borrowed time, gambling recklessly, and stacking his empire on layers of financial illusion, hubris, and sheer desperation. The $14 million Montecito mansion, once a glittering symbol of freedom and Californian luxury, had become a financial millstone around his neck. By February 2026, property records show that the estate had been heavily leveraged through a web of secondary loans funneled directly into the failing Amber Crude project. Harry wasn't just spending his own money anymore, he was gambling with the roof over his children's heads, placing Archie and Lilibet in a precarious position. When the Dubai border rejection evaporated his Middle Eastern oil dreams, predatory lenders began circling. These were not the polite banks of London or New York. These were aggressive firms accustomed to seizing distressed assets, and Harry had made himself their perfect target. Staff in Montecito describe a breaking point in early February. Unpaid wages, screaming phone calls bouncing off the walls, arguments so loud they could be heard from the street. The calm, collected advocate for mental health and philanthropy was gone, replaced by a frantic man pleading for extensions, negotiating high-interest bridge loans, and attempting to stave off a financial collapse of monumental proportions. Interest rates ballooned on his loans, and his team allegedly made the unthinkable, attempting to use anticipated royal inheritance as collateral, pledging money from the family he had spent years publicly attacking. Banks reportedly viewed him as a high-risk, low-yield client, an unpredictable liability. Public outrage escalated as details emerged that in late 2025, Harry had diverted funds originally earmarked for Archie and Lilibet's trust to pay operational costs for yacht meetings in the Mediterranean. This wasn't a minor lapse in judgment. It was the ultimate betrayal of the protective father image he had projected for years. Legacy, the very thing Princess Diana had painstakingly safeguarded, was being systematically dismantled. Harry didn't just fail as a businessman, he failed as a father, risking the financial security and stability of his children while chasing a mirage in the desert. Neighbours in Montecito have noticed a stark change. The Sussex aura has vanished. The constant parade of A-list visitors, Oprah, Ellen, and other Hollywood figures, has stopped. The mansion is quiet, not out of privacy, but absence. Even celebrity endorsements have evaporated as the financial contagion surrounding Amber Crude renders Harry radioactive. Real estate insiders suggest that the 7-acre estate is quietly being prepared for a distressed sale. With annual upkeep exceeding $700,000, the dream of Californian independence is collapsing under a mountain of debt and failed ambition. Harry's dream of becoming a global energy tycoon has left him confronting the bitter reality of financial insolvency. Security details, once framed as essential rights for a former prince, may now be unaffordable. The man who imagined himself a king of crude oil is on the brink of becoming a royal renter, trapped in a prison of high-interest debt, failed ventures, and a reputation so toxic that even top London PR firms refuse to answer his calls. King Charles III III has reportedly drawn a line in the sand. There will be no bailouts, no emergency funds, and no intervention to rescue the Montecito mansion. Any assistance provided will be strictly for the welfare of Archie and Lilibet, and only if Harry relinquishes control, returning them to the UK to be raised under royal supervision. The Crown will not subsidise reckless mistakes, no matter how illustrious the title. Meanwhile, Meghan Markle reportedly moved with ruthless precision. While Harry languished in a Dubai VIP lounge, she was in Los Angeles, coordinating with high-stakes crisis managers. Her directive was clear: total decoupling. For years, Harry and Meghan had operated as a unified brand, a two-headed celebrity machine. Now, as Amber Crude imploded into a $25 million liability, Meghan recognized that her own survival depended on distancing herself from Harry's financial chaos. In a move that shocked many observers, Meghan's team began strategically leaking narratives portraying her as the long-suffering spouse who had warned Harry against his Middle Eastern venture. Classic Hollywood crisis management. The ship is sinking, and she is securing the first lifeboat, even if it means leaving Harry to flounder. Complicating the scandal further, Buckingham Palace's previously dormant bullying investigation has reportedly been reactivated, prompted by allegations from staff who worked on Amber Crude. Reports describe 3 a.m. screaming matches, employees pushed to breaking points, and a pervasive climate of fear, parallels to complaints from the couple's time at Kensington Palace. At least 3 former employees of the Al Energy shell company have reportedly signed NDAs to cooperate with a UK broadcaster's expose. A clear pattern emerges. It wasn't the British monarchy that caused conflict, it was the toxic environment created by the Sussexes wherever they went. By mid-February 2026, the Sussex brand had completely imploded in Hollywood. Studios and streaming services have refused involvement with projects linked to Harry's Amber Crude liabilities, fearing liens, debt claims, and unpredictable behavior. Hollywood operates on a simple principle: loyalty and reputation are currency, and Harry's reputation is spent. Former collaborators have gone silent. Red carpet invites have vanished. Even major events like the Oscars and the Met Gala hold no place for them. They are now, in the eyes of Hollywood, the financial world, and international observers alike, celebrities without a kingdom and, worse, entrepreneurs without a bank. While the PR war rages on and confidential bullying files continue to leak, the question of Archie and Lilibet's welfare has escalated from a private concern into a matter of intense public scrutiny. Reports from Montecito now paint a profoundly tragic picture of the Sussex household: Harry, utterly consumed by his mounting financial ruin, and Meghan, preoccupied with salvaging her personal brand and executing a careful rebranding strategy. The atmosphere is tense, almost militarized, as if the mansion itself is holding its breath under the weight of mismanagement and misfortune. The children are allegedly being raised almost entirely by a constantly rotating shift of security personnel and the dwindling domestic staff who have remained loyal despite unpaid wages and mounting frustration. Stability is entirely absent. There is no consistency, only survival. Daily routines are dictated not by care and love, but by schedules imposed by adults focused elsewhere, prioritizing image and finances over the needs of 2 young children. The public indignation is mounting with every leaked report, every insider revelation. How can Harry continue to present himself as a champion of intergenerational healing and mental health advocacy when his own children are effectively being treated as tools in a high-stakes, adult-centric PR game? The impulsive, horse and rider recklessness that defined Harry's youth has now metastasized into a much darker and more disturbing pattern: cold-hearted negligence. He has traded the stability and peace of his own children for fantasies of wealth and influence that were never within reach. The yachts have sailed, the promises have faded, and the children remain behind, caught in the vacuum of parental absence. Prince William has reportedly watched the unfolding drama with grim satisfaction, noting Meghan's decoupling and Harry's continued missteps. Sources indicate that William advised King Charles III to ignore any narratives Meghan might try to push, ensuring the monarchy stays focused on protecting the heirs above all else, shielding Archie and Lilibet from being manipulated for public sympathy or political leverage. Yet Meghan herself is not without responsibility. The reports suggest she is pursuing a meticulous solo brand strategy, seeking to distance herself from Harry's disastrous ventures while managing her own reputation. In a way, her actions, though pragmatic and survival-oriented, contribute indirectly to the household's instability. King Charles and Prince William are said to have made their position clear. The financial abyss Harry has created, the so-called Hoden black hole, will not be filled by royal funds. Meghan's image and personal brand will not be propped up at the expense of the monarchy's integrity. The royal line is drawing a hard boundary. The heirs are protected, but the parents, left entirely to their own devices, must confront the consequences of their choices. As Harry prepares to return to the United States following his humiliating 4-hour ordeal at Dubai International Airport, he is not stepping into a hero's welcome, nor can he expect spousal support. Instead, he is returning to a battlefield defined by legal threats, financial collapse, and personal humiliation. Meghan is reportedly already executing contingency plans for her brand, ensuring a clean separation from the financial and reputational damage Harry has wrought. Montecito, once the symbolic haven of the Sussexes, has become a high-pressure arena filled with legal teams, PR consultants and creditors, all circling as tensions rise. Tonight, as the sun sets behind the Santa Ynez Mountains, the Sussex mansion lies in silence, the lights dimmed. Gone are the extravagant galas, the Netflix camera crews, and the high-level strategy meetings that once projected a carefully curated image of power and prestige. What remains is a home transformed into a distressed asset, an empty shell reflecting the chaos inside. The Amber Crude fiasco has reached its terminal phase, leaving a wake of financial, emotional, and reputational devastation that will take years to understand fully. Financial records now indicate that the final remaining offshore entities linked to Harry's Amber Crude scheme have filed for Chapter 7 liquidation. Millions of dollars invested in Saudi Arabia's deserts, funds intended to secure a fantasy empire, have vanished, swallowed by systems and regulations that Harry underestimated and failed to respect. The Duke of Sussex, a man who once seemed to have the world at his feet, has become a cautionary example, a study in how impulsive rebellion and unchecked entitlement can lead to systemic collapse across every area of life: personal, professional, and familial. The rejection at the Dubai border and the silent treatment from Riyadh were not accidental oversights. They were a deliberate and unmistakable statement from Middle Eastern authorities. In regions where tradition, protocol, and loyalty are sacred, Harry's audacious attempt to leverage his royal identity for personal gain was viewed as the ultimate betrayal. The sheikhs and diplomats did more than simply block entry. They effectively erased his relevance, refusing to engage with his delusions of grandeur regarding Amber Crude. Without the backing of the British Crown, Harry became nothing more than a recognizable name with a dangerously thin financial foundation. He gambled away centuries of royal prestige for a small, speculative stake in a phantom refinery, only to discover that in the real world, a spare without a kingdom is a ghost, invisible and powerless. Perhaps the most tragic aspect of this saga is the human collateral, the two children, Archie and Lilibet, caught helplessly in the crossfire of their father's relentless narcissism and their mother's survival-focused maneuvers. Harry's willingness to offload his children to the palace in exchange for business discretion, combined with his failure to provide even the semblance of a stable home environment in California, has ignited a storm of public outrage. The man who once advocated passionately for mental health and intergenerational healing has left his own family in emotional and financial instability. At age 41, Harry is still the impulsive, defiant youth of his 20s, incapable of putting the well-being of others, especially his children, before his relentless pursuit of validation and fleeting personal ambition. He did not break the cycle, he accelerated it, sending it hurtling toward an inevitable cliff. As of February 24th, 2026, the status of the Sussex household is clear. Prince Harry, financially ruined, facing potential legal action from predatory lenders, and effectively excommunicated from international diplomacy. Meghan Markle, allegedly finalizing a solo brand strategy designed to separate her image entirely from Harry's toxic business failures. And the monarchy, stronger and more unified than ever under King Charles III and Prince William, having successfully quarantined the Sussex contagion from the rest of the royal family. The lesson of Amber Crude is stark, brutal, and unforgiving. Respect cannot be demanded when none is given. A future cannot be built on the ruins of a reckless past. Titles and privilege cannot substitute for prudence, diligence, or loyalty. Harry's dream of billionaire status in the oil world ended not with spectacle or triumph, but with quiet, undeniable humiliation in a Dubai VIP lounge that will forever symbolize the limits of royal entitlement when untempered by responsibility, foresight, and discipline. He is no longer a revolutionary. He is no longer a player on the global stage. He is no longer a royal with influence, strategy, or support. Instead, he exists as a cautionary footnote in the ongoing history of the Windsor family, a vivid reminder that proximity to power does not equate to power itself. The world has refused him. The desert has refused him. History is closing the book on the man who believed he could buy his way back into prominence, leaving only a trail of squandered opportunities, financial ruin, and familial turmoil. For those following this extraordinary unfolding saga, remember, the story of Harry and Meghan is not only a personal drama, but a cautionary tale for anyone who underestimates the consequences of unchecked ambition, neglect, and ego. To stay up to date with every development in this ongoing saga, make sure you like this video, leave a comment sharing your thoughts, and subscribe for all the latest updates. The story is far from over, and every revelation continues to reshape our understanding of the fall of a once celebrated royal couple.